Hey friends, welcome to Hot News. Hope you enjoyed your Labor Day if you were in the United States, and otherwise, I don't really care about you. So, that's a joke. Let's move on into the sponsor spot because you already know what time it is. It's Displate time. Go check out the dope metal prints at displate.com/UFD Tech Official. They're gorgeous. They're amazing. They look spectacular. You can get them in weeb. You can get them in nature. You can get them in cool retro artistic futurism. It's all there. You can check them out, and they plant 10 trees for every display you buy. So pick them up. Use coupon code UFD to save 15%. A lot of money. Just do it. That's a great sponsor spot. I'm feeling a little rusty. We took yesterday off. What's going on? Well, there's a lot going on in the world of AMD with Der Bauer posting a video indicating that AMD might not be living up to the hopes and dreams of the boost clocks that they've been stating on Ryzen 3000 chips. So out of thousands of entries that he got from users who submitted their Cinebench scores as well as their hardware info clock speeds, they were able to determine how many of the Ryzen 3000 CPUs were actually hitting the boost clock specified. And in the best case scenario, it was around 50% on the Ryzen 5 3600, and in the worst case scenario, it was about 5.6% on the Ryzen 9 3900X. So huge disparities with at least half of all chips not being able to hit the clock speeds that AMD is advertising. Now, there could be a variety of reasons for this, and AMD does say that you could expect up to the advertised maximum boost clock speed under ideal conditions, which what the hell are those at this point? Basically indicating that it's not necessarily guaranteed on every system, and kind of just reiterating the point that it's only gonna be on one core. It's not supposed to be this thing you do all the time, but the fact that it cannot hit it is kind of concerning. However, as Der Bauer mentioned in his video, the people who are more likely to submit their data are those who aren't hitting the boost clock speed. So it could be a higher percentage that are hitting it, they just didn't submit user data to him. And then also there is really no way of guaranteeing that everybody's using the same method and protocol to make sure that everything's going through. And then you have some comments like the people from Hardware Unboxed stating that more than likely they are suspecting that this is a motherboard issue and not a chip issue in and of itself, and that the next round of updates to AMD BIOSes should potentially help it or not. We'll see where it goes, but not indicating that the chip probably isn't the issue here, but rather the motherboards that have been released. And it's no surprise that AMD chipset BIOSes aren't ready to go. They weren't ready to go when Ryzen launched initially. There were tons of issues, especially with RAM support, but it looks like things have settled down, but even X570 has some teething problems. So we'll see how it goes. But one of the things Der Bauer is quick to mention in the video is that even though these chips aren't hitting their advertised clock speeds, they are hitting their advertised performance. So it's not necessarily like take out your pitchforks. It's really just like, if you really want the clock speed, don't bet on it. But if you really want the performance, then just shut up and enjoy your chip. He didn't say that. That's what I'm saying to you. Okay, friends? Shut up and enjoy your Ryzen chips, okay? You're privileged enough to have a multi-$100 part. You should probably get what you paid for, which then put that burden on AMD. Anyways, you know what? Let's talk about AMD sales, because it actually doesn't look like this clock speed issue had anything to do with how great their sales are going, at least at MindFactory in Germany, who is a consistent reporter of their sales data of CPUs, showing the Intel AMD standoff, which right before Ryzen 3000 launched, AMD was doing pretty okay. They had a 67% sales ratio. Well, freaking Ryzen 3000 doubled their sales, going up to 80% versus Intel's garbage 20%. Dang. Obviously, this is one retailer in one country, not really giving us a whole indication of everything that's going on, but AMD still selling fantastically well and basically wrecking Intel, at least in MindFactory. But you know what else AMD is also going to wreck Intel at APU RAM support on mobile processors. Yeah, that's the freaking flag they're gonna plant on the moon, because there's indication that AMD's Renoir APUs that are supposed to be coming out for mobile, which is going to be Zen 2 CPUs plus the Vega graphics combined together in a weird APU. It's supposed to be the successor to Picasso. Anyways, it looks like they're gonna support LPDDR4X up to 4,266 megahertz. Intel's Ice Lake, the 10 nanometer stuff, only supports it up to a paltry 3,733 megahertz. Where's your extra 500 megahertz, Intel? Huh? Did you leave it at home because you were too scared to bring it into school today? I'm just making jokes. Let's move on. ASRock's Radeon RX 5700 XT Taichi OC Plus has been pictured. It looks like a beauty. It definitely corresponds to their Taichi motherboard, but also that the RGB fan in the middle reminds me of the Galax RTX 2080 Ti 10th Anniversary Hall of Fame edition. Jason put that on the screen. That thing looks very similar, very similar. We'll see how it goes. You know what else we're gonna see how it goes? New Android updates, because it looks like Pixel phones shall be receiving the Android 10 update, the full Android 10 update, today, September 3rd, at least according to Canadian carriers who have published about this. I should be able to get it as well since I'm on a Pixel 3a. So congrats, Android 10 for everybody, as long as you're on a Pixel device. But if you're not on a Pixel device, such as people who are on the OnePlus 7 and OnePlus 7 Pro, they should be getting the Android 10 beta 5th version today. And then Apple Watch users. This is actually something that I wanted forever and they never had, and so I had to, I had to use third-party ads, whatever. Anyways, Apple Watch is getting sleep tracking. This is coming after they bought a company called Bedit. However, you don't need the add-on device that they used to have. It's just using all of the sensors built into the Apple Watch. It's gonna be okay. And the code name, which I loved, was Burrito. Because you're sleeping like a burrito, okay? In my tummy. Sleep like a burrito in my stomach.
Get in my belly!
Weird. Anyways, sleep tracking now should be available for Apple Watches sometime soon. I really want it. I don't want to switch back to Apple though, just to get it. I'm not even wearing a watch. And if this latest tariff increase from the US-China trade war that's going on is any indication, I won't be getting another smartwatch because a 15% tariff has gone up on a bunch of different goods. An extra $110 billion worth of tariffs has gone on to electronics goods, especially wearables. So the Apple Watch should be increasing at least in cost price, if not in end user value price. That happened on September 1st. So expect increased electronics pricing, and then another increase is supposed to take place on December 15th. But we'll see where and when that leads. But let's talk about you spending more money on the Apple ecosystem, because we have new benchmarks of the Apple iPhone 11 benchmarks. Anyways, it looks like it's gonna have 4 gigs of RAM as opposed to the 3 gigs of RAM on the 10R. However, its Geekbench score is slightly disappointing when you compare the multi-core to the A12 that's on the current 10R. It's slightly lower than you would expect, even though it's using a more advanced 7 nanometer process on the A13 chip, but it could just be because it's not a retail sample and the new phones will be fine, or Apple is cutting features and it's thermal throttling even worse than ever before, which that's also super likely. And it's also super likely that Huawei is going to be announcing and launching their Mate 30 flagship on September 19th in Munich. And by likely, I mean Huawei announced it themselves. So yeah, if you want a Mate 30, if you're allowed to have a Mate 30, unless it gets banned. I don't know what's going on with Huawei, US, whatever, who cares? September 19th if you're excited. And then today, if you're excited for folding phones, registrations have opened up for the Samsung Galaxy Fold in the US. For those who already pre-ordered it, great. For those who want to pre-order the one that's supposed to be fixed, here's your chance. But I'm actually excited about this one. Today, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. Woo! Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Best Final Fantasy game of all time, don't want to hear nothing. This is actually a feat because they lost the source files to Final Fantasy VIII, so they actually had to build this from the ground up. Obviously, they have all of the resources from the PC release and the PS4 re-release and all that kind of stuff, but they couldn't actually remaster it with the source stuff, so they had to reconfigure and combobulate things. Anyways, it's here now, $20. But yes, gosh dang, just buy it on all the platforms. Antec has announced its new Striker open-air mini ITX case. If you take a look at the pictures here on the screen, it looks like it's a perfect ITX case for water cooling. Open air, so you can get really good airflow even on the smallest of components. So a 3900X on an X570 ASRock ITX Thunderbolt 3, it'd be amazing. They sent us an email this morning. I might be getting a review sample. And then, in the cutest darn thing you ever seen today, there's apparently a new tower heatsink for the Raspberry Pi 4. And they're claiming it'll drop the temperatures up to 40 degrees. Fantastic. And it'll support RGB. Yeah, you know you want this. And in the best article of the day, scientists gave one of the world's rarest bats a manicure to help save it. Yes, this is just how scientists are trying to track the bats because it's an endangered animal, so they're trying to make sure it's all good, but they couldn't like pin it and like put tags on it like you would do with a normal animal. So they painted its nails so that they could identify them and keep track of everything. They said it took 20 minutes per bat and everything's fine and they're all happy. Good flying mammalians. And I'm gonna fly my mammal right on out of here with the end of hot news there. Don't forget about today's sponsor, Displate. Check them out at the link in the video description. Use the coupon code UFD to save 15%. And that's it. What noises do bats make? Hurt me too.